Greenland? Whatever. I'm a fool. That was idiotic. I mean, that was stupid. I'm an idiot. This was the last day of the United States of America. I mean, for all we know, the fucking Lakers could have just won, and that's the reason why all this is happening.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Movie LaBeoufs. I'm Todd.
Hey, everyone. I'm Owen.
And today we're doing the disaster flick, Greenland.
Yeah, we did Greenland this week, which was directed by Rick Roman Waugh. It was written by Chris Sparling, and it stars Gerard, Butler, and Morena Baccarin.
Baccarin.
Yeah, so the director, Rick Roman Waugh, I think his name is?
Yeah.
It's W-A-U-G-H.
Wow.
Yeah, which we found out is a stunt guy.
He's a stunt man.
He's been directing, I guess, since the 2000s. He did Angel Has Fallen.
Which also stars Gerard Butler.
That's
And Morgan Freeman.
Which is from Olympus Has Fallen? Is that
I believe
right?
so. I believe that's a
Or is it just a coincidence?
No, I think they're a franchise. I think it's like a 2 to 3 movie
Isn't it-
franchise. But there also was a movie like Olympus Has Fallen. I think is about the White House.
Taking. Yeah, right.
But there was also at the same time there was a Channing Tatum,
There was another
Jamie
one.
Foxx movie called White House Down.
Right.
Which was essentially the same where like Jamie Foxx is the president, he has to team up with Channing Tatum, and I was like, this is ridiculous.
Right.
They both came out at the same time, which is kind of funny because it falls into our disaster movie thing.
That does.
But like, if you can remember the classic like rivalry movies, like remember it was like Deep Impact and
exactly.
Armageddon, and also Volcano to Dante's Peak.
That's true.
Yeah, like
Why?
I was always a Dante's Peak man personally. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I think Dante's Peak is better. I like them both.
I do, yeah. Volcano's more over the top. Like, it's cool with Tommy Lee Jones just running the show.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones is good in it. But yeah, there's a few similarities I saw with this movie Greenland and Dante's Peak. Just one really, but
Yeah, we'll get it. I think I know exactly what you're getting at, but we'll get into that one too. I probably thought the exact same. We'll see what it is. I'm kind of curious because I think I thought the same thing.
Okay, and we're gonna talk a lot about older disaster movies versus newer disaster movies. Like Greenland is a disaster movie from 2020, which is one of those things that comes up and you're just like, oh, I guess they're still making disaster movies.
Yeah, we'll kind of go into like some of our favorite disaster movies, you know.
So Greenland was written by Chris Sparling, who wrote that movie. Buried is his like biggest credit. The Ryan Reynolds movie where he's buried.
A lot of shit happens.
I think I saw that movie.
I think I saw it in theaters too.
It was 2000s.
Yeah, 2010, I think, something like that. It was like okay. 50% of the movie is just him on his phone in the box.
It is 2010. Yeah. I think the whole movie is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a 127 hours thing where it's just like,
but not as good.
No. But even 127 hours has flashback scenes. I can't remember if Barry did, but I don't know. I remember it being a big thing, that movie.
Yeah. Because it kind of like, it goes under that fear. Everyone's like, oh, buried alive. Like, someone's the greatest. Why don't they make a movie drowning, you know?
Someone drowning for...
Yeah.
Well, how long can you drown?
I don't know. That wouldn't work. Throw them out of a plane. I don't know.
You can float on your back.
Okay, yeah.
For a decent amount of time.
Yeah, because they do kind of have that genre of like those survival movies, I guess you would say. Like 127 hours. What's the one where the two people are stuck in the ocean? And they're floating around because they get left behind.
Open water?
Open water, yeah. That one was actually okay. I didn't mind that one.
Yeah.
That one was a whole lot of nothing, but with something going on, if you know what I'm saying. Like
sharks?
Yeah, pretty much. Tiger shark.
Yeah, I don't know. Moving on to the actors. Yeah, this movie stars Gerard Butler.
We all know him from Olympus Has Fallen.
Is he in Olympus Has Fallen?
Well, I think that's the prequel to the other one we were just talking about.
But is he in it?
Yeah, he's in it.
Okay.
I think he's in all three.
Right.
Whatever.
True, yeah, he's in a lot of disaster type movies, I guess.
Yeah, he's in his fair share. I mean,
he's like budget Liam Neeson, kind of.
Yeah, I would call him that.
Is Liam Neeson Scottish too?
Yeah. Liam Neeson might be Irish.
Let me look. Liam Neeson's from Northern Ireland.
Oh, sick. Got it. See, I could always tell a good Northern Irish accent when I hear it. A strong one.
I guess so. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, right. Yeah, and then it also stars Morena Baccarin.
Baccarin.
Right.
Yes.
I feel like I keep saying the same thing you're saying.
Baccarin.
Yeah. Am I not saying it right?
No, you are.
Baccarin.
I'm just trying to get it right.
Okay.
I don't know if that's fucking with you or not, but it probably is.
I just thought you kept correcting me. I feel like we're saying the same thing. What was she in, Todd?
She's in Deadpool. She's in,
Yeah.
both Deadpools. I think she's mostly known for being on, Gotham, that Batman running TV series that ran.
Yeah.
She is married to, Ben McKenzie from the OC. The guy's also in Gotham with her.
Oh, really?
Also, yeah, I heard
Nice.
that, and I was like, oh,
Nice.
okay, that's kind of cool.
True. All right. Well, tell us what Greenland's about.
So, yeah, basically, it's pretty cut and dry. Giant asteroid coming. Gerard Butler's family. He's a...
It's not an asteroid.
It's an asteroid? It's a comet.
Yeah, it's comet.
Oh, okay. Asteroid comet. Sorry, Michael Bay. But, yeah, so basically, essentially, it's a family. The asteroid's coming. And it's
Comet.
Comet's coming. And...
Which they didn't see coming.
Yeah, they didn't.
Is that possible? I don't know.
No.
I wish I should have talked to like someone that knows more about this thing, but like they don't see it coming, you know. In the news report, they're like, "We didn't know this comet was here until 5 days ago."
No, they knew that it was gonna go right by them. Everyone was told that it was gonna wing right by the Earth, and then they
said they didn't know about it at the beginning of the movie.
Really? I thought they said they knew about it. Well, what happens is obviously it veers off path and it starts slamming pieces into Earth like one by one, right? So like cities are getting blown up, like Florida gets taken out.
Would they be that bad at calculating where this thing's gonna land and stuff? Because you know how they're like, oh, it's going for in the ocean near Bermuda, and then it hits Florida.
Well, this is where it gets tricky, where I don't understand, where it kind of turns into a plot hole. The news coverage is saying that, like, you know, the comets that's about to like wing by is gonna like just a little piece of it's just gonna land in the ocean and everything's gonna be fine. That's not how it goes down. Comet slams right into Florida. Start fucking shit up.
Right into Tampa, yeah.
Yeah, right into Tampa. And Gerard Butler starts getting notifications on his phone that him and his family have been invited to sanctuary bunker or some sort. You really don't know until a bit later. So basically it's them setting out to get to this place. Society's just collapsing because obviously everyone was told that the comet wasn't going to hit Earth.
Extinction level event. Yeah.
So obviously people are looting, rioting. And it's just a family trying to get from point A to point B to point C to point D and running into trouble along the way. Your basic kind of standard like apocalypse.
Yeah, modern disaster movie. Yeah. So did you like it?
I would say it was okay.
Yeah.
It was very predictable, I found.
Yeah. It was very cheesy.
It was a little cheesy.
A lot of the dialogue was bad.
Yes, the dialogue wasn't the best either.
Acting wasn't great.
There were some scenes where I was like, okay, like...
No.
The mom I wasn't the biggest fan of.
I mean, they're both actors. They can act, but... it wasn't great. I mean, that's a question, though. Can you do fully believable acting in a movie like this? Like, could Daniel Day-Lewis be in this movie and you'd believe what he's saying?
Well, I don't think there's a way of method acting this one out. But I also noticed that too. I noticed that with the actors and like kind of some of the stuff that was going on. Like, you know how the like army people are still doing shit like right up until the very end of the movie? Like they're always at checkpoints and like they know that they're not going to live, right?
Yeah.
Would they still be doing that? You'd like to think a lot of people would be like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here.
They probably would, but I was thinking about that. I mean, it's still their job and their responsibility and stuff, so I believe they would be doing. And the idea is that their mission is to preserve humanity, right? So you'd still want to do that if you were going to die, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's like you're fucked either way kind of thing.
Here's a question I wanted to ask you, too. Well, because I kind of am like... I don't know. If this situation was happening to me and comets are coming down and it's an extinction level event, I'm the type of guy that's just going to be like, all right, well, that's it for me and that's fine. I'm not going to try to get to fucking Greenland.
What are you, the fucking kids? You're like the kids on the patio. You know that scene where he sees the kids just drinking and shit's flying and the kids are just celebrating?
It's like, I don't know. Yeah, and I'm probably in like a fucking fraction of a percent of people that feel that way, but that like type of like survival, primal like survival, do anything you can to survive, is not me at all. I wouldn't fuck over other people to survive.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't really care that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny because I did,
which sounds depressing. I don't want to say.
No, it's just like you're pacifist, right? You're just like whatever.
Like
yeah, that's what it is.
Everyone's got to die at some point.
I do agree with you in that sense.
Like the grandfather said in it.
Yeah.
Which I guess I could just say now because fuck it, we're talking about it. That's the similarity I found with Dante's Peak.
Yeah, the grandmother jumping out of the thing and push. I thought the exact same thing. He's like, I'm going to save you because I'm old.
The grandfather wants to stay in his own home and die there. Just like the grandmother in Dante's Peak. Yeah. In Dante's Peak, it works a little better because she has, like, a volcano's not extinction level event, and she has an opportunity to live.
But she doesn't.
But she's like, to. Nah, I'm staying in my fucking swamp here.
Oh, and the kids go to get her. That's how they end up. Okay, that's right. The kids go to get her.
Remember the boat fucking melts and she burns her legs?
Oh, yeah, she jumps in and pushes the boat, yeah. Oh, yeah, that scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. I was like, what the fuck?
This movie reminded me mainly of another movie. And I'm going to look up the name after this because I can't remember unless you can, but it's the Tsunami movie.
Oh, The Impossible.
The Impossible?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is what it's called. Strange name. Exact same plot in the sense that it's a family that's all been kind of split up and they're trying to find each other during this disaster. But The Impossible is way better and probably, there's a few reasons, but probably mostly because it's a true story, right?
Yeah, the actual tsunami. Though.
And it's the exact same thing going on. You know, they're trying to stay a family during this thing and
it's more real.
Well, yeah, because it
really happened, right? Not to say this couldn't happen. All right.
So I guess that's kind of where some of it's lost on me. Like, I guess people's trying to survive in an extinction level event. It's kind of like, you know, your chances are low, so who cares?
What are you gonna do? I did like that they did show like different aspects of it. Like I said, like we had talked about before, like the party scene. Like where some people are just like, fuck it. Like this is how it's done. They showed different
for a second.
Yeah. But they kind of showed different aspects of how people would kind of react.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that I was like, okay, I could see that happening. There's other shit where I was like, would that really happen?
Mostly the people they ran into, they had negative experiences with.
Yes.
Which is something I don't think it would go down that way. And again, I think a lot of people would disagree with me, and I'm probably wrong, but I feel like people would want to help each other during a situation like this. Mm-hmm. You know, like how, like, spoilers, fuck it. Like how David Denman, like, kidnaps the son.
Yeah.
I don't think people would do that. I don't know.
He's Roy.
Yeah. Did you book that was him?
Oh yeah.
Right away?
Oh yeah. Because I just watched Brightburn, right? And he's in Brightburn.
Okay. Yeah, so David Denman plays in this movie a man that's like trying to help Morena Baccarin's character, and then there's sort of like a twist there. But David Denman from The Office plays Roy, Pam's husband or whatever.
Ex-fiance, five-year engagement or whatever. But yeah, no, he plays more. Yeah, he's kind of the villain. I would say like the kind of the bad guy.
Villain. Oddly, well, I guess not. It's not so odd, but something interesting is that all of the supportive people and the helpful people in this movie are the military.
Ooh, I didn't really catch that. Well, there's also
they're all every situation they run into the military, they're all doing their job. Like, I'm sorry, I can't let you in for this reason. But then after they're like, please, 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 they eventually like do something in every situation.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah. Eventually, they always cave. Mm. Now. I don't think that would happen because you would have hundreds of thousands of people doing that.
Here's the thing that we don't know is like no one's really been in a situation like this. Like you said, all those people know they're going to die. The military's going to die because they're not welcome in Greenland or whatever. They're not accepted. So if you know you're going to die anyway, would you just be like, all right, go through? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or whatever they do. Yeah, it's hard to say, obviously.
So what'd you think?
Yeah.
If you're going to rate this
well, first of all, I want to say that I, as a kid, used to love disaster movies. Like I've seen them all, so I really love the old disaster movies. And this is a lot different. Like as expected, like movies in general have kind of changed in the pacing, which is something I kind of wanted to touch on. In old disaster movies, the event happens halfway through the movie. In modern day movies, they happen in the first 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, keep people interested.
It's the new way of watching things. And that's a lot of reasons why movies suck these days. Like, like monster movies or whatever aren't Jurassic Park, because Jurassic Park, the dinosaurs attack in minute 60, because there's
Character
interesting,
building.
interesting
Yeah,
shit
you
going
need
on
that stuff.
that they don't do in movies anymore, in blockbusters, because it's just like, show them the shit. Make
Yeah, like
some
this
money.
one, the best example of it is that there's a story between the husband and the wife, and then shit starts going sideways, and they never really touch on it. Like, they kind of bring it up in pieces.
Yeah.
But there's more to that, I found.
Yeah, once the comet hits, then
That
doesn't matter anymore,
Yeah.
because they're in crisis, which makes sense. But
It's,
here's
it seems like
something-
lazy writing to me.
Something too about this is, so what old disaster movies do is there's always like a scientist group, or maybe they're the main character, and they see signs. They're like, oh, the rocks are fucking hot, or whatever. This
Or like,
volcano's
the
gonna go
birds are all falling out of the skies.
Yeah, exactly.
shit like that,
and
yeah.
nobody listens to them until it's too late. So they don't have that in this movie, and I think in modern disaster movies too, they don't do that anymore. There's no like warning of
Yeah.
anything. It just happens. Anyway, that being said, it was all right. The movie was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, I will agree with you on that one.
It was very, very like cut and dry. Like there was nothing new they were doing. Down to every scene was just like formulaic, but not in a terribly bad way. It all kind of worked.
Mm-hmm.
I had some issues with like the ending and a lot of
As did I.
the cheesiness of the dialogue and different small things. But overall, I would recommend it if you like disaster movies. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a similar movie, and I can't really remember what it's called on Amazon. That was like it was Forrest Whitaker and somebody else. I can't remember who the main actor was. I want to say
A new movie.
Clive Owen. I could be wrong. Yeah, it was an Amazon movie where there's a disaster happening, and Forrest Whitaker has to travel across the country with his son-in-law to get to his wife or something like that. It's also done and the effects look the exact same as this one. It was almost like a carbon
Okay,
copy.
I'm trying to think of. But is it comets or asteroids again, or?
It's a natural disaster of some sort. They don't know what's going on, and I don't think they ever really tell you in the
Right.
movie.
So I didn't do the research, but I was thinking about what was the last disaster movie that I know that has come out, and I'm sure there's some in between here, but it was the Rock movie.
Oh, San Andreas.
San Andreas.
Yeah, I don't even remember. I haven't even seen that. I don't even know what that's about.
This was better than San Andreas, but San Andreas is a little more exciting, I guess.
Yeah, it's a blockbuster.
Yeah.
This is Amazon. This isn't really a blockbuster.
So
It's
yeah,
kinda
this
like,
is a disaster movie where you don't see too much of the disasters.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like what's going on in between.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. It really depends, but
Yeah, I mean, as far as Amazon movie goes, like it's not the worst. It's not the worst thing they've done, but you know, it could definitely have been a lot better.
yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of perfect for what they wanted to do, because how do you really make it better anyway? Like, you could change some of the dialogue and writing a bit,
They could have cast better. They could have changed the dialogue. They could have, you know.
but I don't think it calls for that. That's what I mean. Like, a movie like this doesn't call for better actors. It doesn't call for. I think it could call for a little bit better visual effects.
Yeah, it seems like they really. You'd think for a giant company of that size, you know, they could, you know, like a production studio like that, you think they could get a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm sure
Like
it was
CG in
expensive.
there.
Like a lot of the comet stuff looked good, but like
And their little tiny ones come in, and also
Mhm.
remember in that scene when they're on the highway and they're trying to get through, and on the radio they're like, "Oh no, there's comets falling towards New York," and the wife's like, "Oh my god, that's where we are," and it just starts spitting in front of them. I'm
Right
like,
away,
what are
yeah.
the fucking odds of that happening? Like
Yeah.
Neil and I understand they're falling all over the world, but like, come on, like,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, it's a classic disaster movie. Like, they're always on the run, they're always on the go, and there's
Uh-huh.
always something, you know, like, yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you had to rate it, what would you give it?
I didn't really think about that. I don't know, 6.
You give it a 6?
Yeah.
I can agree with you on that one. I'm gonna give it a 6.
All right.
I can't believe that the Dante's Peak thing was the thing you were thinking of, because it's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, yeah, like, and those movies are better.
Oh god, 100 times better. I'd rather watch that.
I think it's more interesting in disaster movies when you're following the person that has the most knowledge about the disaster, like the scientist
Yeah.
or whatever, or they're trying to, you know, maybe like get to their family, but they're also like doing stuff to possibly like prevent it or whatever.
Or like shed some like clarity on like
Yeah.
what is actually happening. I mean, with the comet, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. Do you think this movie? I'm sure. I guess it's 2020, so I'm sure it was in production before the pandemic, before COVID-19.
Oh, it must have been.
So yeah, because I was thinking like there's a lot of like parallels to COVID-19 because people didn't know what was going on, so a lot of people were like sheltering and like
the looting.
Yeah, like buying out fucking all the toilet paper and shit.
Yeah.
So there's some of those elements, and also like hiding in bunkers or like that building society. Like the fact that the government has selected just these people to go to some bunker thing out in Greenland, like that's 100% a real thing. Like the government 100% has.
Oh, they have that shit for sure.
So
like, isn't that what NORAD is? Isn't that like?
I don't know. I don't know what's NORAD.
Isn't it like that big base they have in California? Like or like outside in the desert. They like isn't that like where they're going in Terminator 3?
Yeah, like so. Why do they need to go to Greenland?
Because there's the bunker there.
I know, but why can't they have a bunker in the States, which they 100% do somewhere?
I think they explain in the like they catch. It's weird how they explain things in the movie. They kind of just use the news to explain things like the laziest way you could.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's just like,
which isn't really new, but.
And it's just like, there's like when they're at the grandfather's house, there's a clip where it's like on the news, it's like, oh, this is the bunker we found footage of.
Yeah.
They're like, it's an old bunker from the 60s that they had built there.
Right.
It was during for something for the Soviets, because Greenland is right. Like, it's
but there's no way in a real scenario, there's no way they'd use some old fucking bunker that they found.
Oh, no.
They have a plan in place.
Oh, they must.
Yes, they do. Multiple different occasions I've read about it.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I was going to say is that if they chose Greenland, because Greenland's the safest, I always heard that New Zealand was the best place to go in extinction level event.
Because it's so secluded?
Yeah, and it's...
But it's an island, though. If it was like an asteroid, wouldn't it be sunk?
I don't know. I don't think...
Because in that movie, it hits in Europe, so... But then you'd be on the other side. I don't know.
If islands sink... I mean, if it hits New Zealand, obviously you're fucked, but if it hits
But wouldn't it make,
else,
like... It said it was going to make a giant tidal wave. Wouldn't it cover, like... They show in most of them, like...
I don't know. That's just what I heard. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously going to be underground, so if there's a huge tidal wave, like, that fucking washes over, I guess. It doesn't stay.
The lost country of New Zealand. How funny would it have been, like, like when everyone was looting in there, if it was like all of COVID, you just saw some asshole with like a bunch of toilet paper in his car. Like, it's like, we're all going to be dead in 2 days, and this guy's like,
yeah, I mean, they should have done
like,
that.
you don't need the shit tickets, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to be wiping your ass because you're going to be dead.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many scenes that I remember where I was just like, how? Like, like, they always end up together. Like, they ended up, like...
Yeah, it was really like that. Like, there's a lot of unbelievability in it. Like, when he's on the fucking plane to Greenland, and then the guy the hose for the jet fuel falls out, and as he's, like, running out, because he's going to get his wife, he sees the hose and the fuel on the ground, and he yells to the plane, "Get out of the plane, it's not safe!" And everyone runs out of the plane. These fucking people are trying to get on a plane to go survive. I don't think they're all gonna run out of a plane just because some fucking guy told them to.
It's
like,
funny.
There's a lot of shit like that.
Yeah, and I think the funniest one is that at the beginning they really established that he's like a main like civil engineer. Like, he builds all these like he's a main like architect.
Or he's
like, he's really high up, and like they established that at the beginning. He's like, I built that building and that building, and it's like, oh, foreshadowing, that's all gonna get like knocked down. But like, he's in shock. He's like, why would they pick me? And I'm like, obviously because they know it's gonna get totaled, and like like it's
people to build shit.
Yeah, and it's just funny because they're like, the whole time he's like, why us? Why us? And I'm like,
which is probably how a program like that is really set up. They have a bunch of different types of people, like they're saying doctors.
Yeah, they do that in Deep Impact. They pick a bunch of people at random. Right?
And then so the first like main twist is that the kid has diabetes, and they kind of lose his like diabetes pack or whatever. And when the military people find out that he has diabetes, then they're not allowed on. So why did they get selected when he has diabetes?
They say they're like, there's a mention to it where it's like, oh, it must have slipped through, or something like that. And then there's someone else who says that, they're like, hey, my kid couldn't get in because he was sick too.
Yeah, one thing I was wondering was, so it's them two and the little boy. So I was wondering, do they pick couples with one child? Because it's like,
you don't have enough people. Yeah, maybe.
So not two children, but one child, because to extend the population.
Well, if
There's
you're Mormon,
other
you're fucked.
childs.
I was like, if you're Mormon, you're fucked. Okay, we can only take one of you. There's 17 of you.
Yeah, it is. Who knows? I don't know how that would go down. Because obviously all the fucking billionaires want to be selected, but maybe they won't be because they're just like...
Yeah, but that if they're billionaires and they got their own.
They have their own thing going on.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing about New Zealand. There's a lot of homes that have been built there that are unoccupied because they have like underground shelters for like rich billionaires to go to if anything goes down. Like, yeah, it's like a real thing. There's like tons of empty homes there. Yeah.
Probably how Mad Max started. All the celebrities and rich people just came out of the nuclear waste and then just started driving around with mohawks and
How
stuff.
did they get to Australia?
I don't know. The criminals?
New Zealand sunk.
Maybe they didn't get the fuck out. Yeah, so yeah, I agree with you. I'd give it a solid 6.
I want to talk to you about the ending.
Oh god.
Because in the ending, first of all, Gerard Butler meets a guy because he's got to go north to meet his wife at her dad's house. So he meets a guy with a truck on the road that's headed north. He's like, "Can I get a ride?" Yeah. There's a bunch of guys in the back, and he's going to Canada. They're like, "Oh, why are you going to Canada?" He's like, "Oh, my buddy has a plane out there. They're flying everyone to Greenland because they heard there's bunkers in Greenland." So obviously we know he's going to go fucking try to take that plane. So he meets up with them, drives to the spot in Canada, flies out there to Greenland.
Just makes it, by the way.
Which I was also thinking, because he stops the plane to get on, right? So if he never stopped the plane and they flew to Greenland, they would have landed before the comet hit. Remember? They're on the plane about to land and the comet hits and then
so he killed
they
those
crash.
He killed those guys.
So it was their fault that the pilots died, right? Because they stole the plane.
I never thought of that.
Yeah. But I thought it was really stupid that he happens to run into these people that are going on the one plane to Greenland. Like,
I think they said there was a lot of them taking off, but yeah, very, very like...
They're probably... Are they letting all those people in? Like, I don't think they would, and they do.
Well, if you remember, a bunch of those jets blew up and stuff. Like, maybe there's room now, right? People probably died on the way, right?
Although, I guess if you're in the military, and you're selected to be one of the people ushering the people in the fucking thing, you're like, oh, sick, I got the best job. I can just head in there afterward.
Yeah. You're like, I don't give a fuck. You. Like...
All right, so then what happens is they get in the bunker, whatever, close it, and the big ass...
Whoa, let's not forget about the mad dash at the last second while they're counting down, like, the comet's coming.
Yeah, it's gonna hit in, like, fucking 10 seconds.
And they're fucking running, and they're running, like, grab your shit, like, no time for your insulin, kid, like, running, and I'm, like, watching this, I'm like, oh, that's some good timing.
Make it exciting, yeah.
And
it was very, very
they
good
just made it.
They just made it, and then they're in there for...
No, comet hits, screen goes black.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm thinking that this thing's over.
Me too.
And I'm like, okay,
that
cool.
was a good way to end it.
And then, no, we start hearing that
and then
radio
they show
chatter.
the fucking...
all the places.
They show everything blow up. Which I was kind of like, I kind of want to see everything blow up, but once you see it all, it kind of, like, ruins it a little.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that way too, but...
I was just kind of like, it was just yes, I know what happens. Like, I don't need to, like, I don't care.
Yeah, like you said, if the credits came down at that moment, that would be good because they made it into the bunker, they probably lived, but can they restart society? And that's the question it leaves you with, which is perfect to end the movie.
But they fucking didn't.
No, they got to do the fucking explosion thing, and then they open the door and they say in dialogue, I can't believe we were down there for 9 months.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Just so everybody knows, it's been 9 months.
And then they start playing.
How was your sleep? It was 9 months long.
They start playing the transmissions like, "Hola, this is Russia." Like this is, and I'm like, what? Like all the different countries like communicating with them, like we're all alive here. And I was like, why are they saying it in English? First of all, secondly,
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, it's at the very end, and then they come out and they're like, oh, like add like this, we can rebuild society.
Well, yeah. So they open the doors, and then you see kind of the destruction of Greenland's kind of been destroyed a little bit.
It's not so great.
Like it's in ashes, I guess. And then they see. Do you remember what they see?
Oh, the birds?
Yeah, they see a bird.
And they're like,
And
oh,
they're like,
fuck, we're
oh
good.
my god, a bird lived. We'll be fine. And that's how it ends, right?
Yeah.
It ends right after that.
So you'd like to think that they're heading out to start society.
Yeah, but...
Oh, and they also mentioned, like, there's no radiation. And I'm like... Because that was my first thought. I was like, you can't go out there.
That's something I wanted to talk to you about. Like the nuclear winter, right?
Yeah.
There'd be a nuclear winter.
There would be, wouldn't there? Because it would block out... Wouldn't it block out the sun?
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, an ice age.
Yeah,
right?
Because that's how it went down before. Yeah. And they also make reference that this comet is bigger than the last one that killed the dinosaurs. Yeah. So I'm like, what the fuck?
And the sky's clear.
Yeah. I don't know, 9 months. I'm like, I think the ice age lasted a bit longer than that. I'm not a fucking historian, but
yeah, 9 months ice age. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they had to have that line too, where the kid's like, "It's snowing." That's not snow.
Yeah.
It's ash.
It's ash.
Like,
get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of
that
here.
line's in every fucking movie.
Yeah. It's in all those like post-apocalyptic, like stupid. What movie is it? Oh, that's in War of the Worlds or whatever. When they're like, it's raining, and then the guy puts us the blood from when Tom Cruise is in the basement with Tim Robbins. Oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, stupid. That's another one. I just thought of that. I guess we could flick it in. We could flip a switch here. Let's get into, like, since we're on the topic, let's shoot into some other disaster flicks here.
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of War of the Worlds. Would you call that a disaster movie?
No, not really. I mean, it has those elements because the world's under attack. I guess it's just like an alien movie.
Okay, well then, you might disagree with this list I found.
Okay.
Cineblend here.
Right, okay, but...
What are the other, like... disaster films. So I found this one on Cineblend, really. It's not really rated. It's just like their top disaster movies, and I was looking at...
So their top what? How many?
15.
Their top 15 disaster movies of all time.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're going back and forth, we got 2014's Godzilla.
Wait, is this number 10?
Number 15. It's a list
of
15.
Yeah, right.
White House Down. Okay, then we got Gravity. Would you call that a disaster movie? I guess so.
So they're using the term disaster
very loosely. World War Z.
A disaster happens.
Yeah.
In Gravity.
We have The Impossible, which is the movie that you brought up, the tsunami one.
That's a disaster movie.
We have Contagion.
That's a disaster movie.
We have Piranha 3D.
Why?
That's what I said. Followed by...
Whose list is this?
Followed by Armageddon.
That's
Deep Impact.
Yeah.
Titanic.
Why? Of course they put them next to each other.
Yeah. That's what I thought was funny too.
Titanic, yeah.
Titanic.
For sure, yeah.
Independence Day. Okay. Here's a real head scratcher. Mars Attacks.
Mars Attacks.
Yeah. I guess because they're fucking up the world's in shambles, right?
Is it? Okay, but the world's not in fucking shambles in Piranha.
Well, the party is. I mean, that those kids are having.
Which one is it? I've only seen the original.
This is Piranha 3D.
So there's 3 Double D.
3 Double D is the third one.
Oh, there's a Piranha 3D.
The second one is Piranha. Yeah, it's confusing. It's confusing. So I believe that Piranha 2 is Piranha 3D because it's the height of 3D craze. I think they skipped over 2.
Well, the first Piranha came out in like the 70s.
Yeah. So Mars Attack, not really a disaster movie. A lot of these movies have Pierce Brosnan in it. True. Twister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about Twister.
Yeah, Twister, for sure.
Now, this is and then, obviously, we said Godzilla from 1954 is number 1. Now, this next one, would you put this in a disaster movie category? I would. Apollo 13.
No, because that's the same thing with Gravity.
Okay.
A disaster happens, I guess...
Or is it a survival movie at that point? Like, what's the line?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it depends whether you think a disaster should be to a large group of people or just, like,
one person.
A couple, yeah. I guess it is fair. Yeah. I guess it's fair to say both those movies. If you say Titanic's a disaster movie, which I think it is.
Yes.
Then I guess it's fair to say Gravity and Apollo 13 are as well.
Okay. Yeah, we can throw those in there.
So that's true. Yeah, I guess the distinction is like disaster movie and natural disaster movie, because that's what I always think. A disaster movie is like natural disaster, right?
Much like
volcano.
Much like is Die Hard a Christmas movie, or is it not?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
yeah, kind of.
Although, nobody has that argument with disaster movies. Like, Like,
I mean, the disaster nerds probably do. Like, Apollo 13 is not a disaster movie.
the club of 20 people.
Oh man, I don't know. It could be I don't want to piss anybody off.
Yeah, but the fucking monster movies, the Morena, they're not disaster movies. I'll say.
Yeah, that's what I was. I agree with you on that one.
Like I always,
World War Z is not as. I mean, do you define a disaster movie as shit going sideways and society collapsing? Is that what it is?
I kind of would maybe agree with that a little bit because, like, zombie movies, like a lot of zombie. So let's say after 28 days later, is that the zombie?
The Danny Boyle one, yeah.
28 days later.
Mm-hmm.
After that kind of changed the zombie genre now.
Oh, it introduced fast zombies.
Yes, but the main thing is that zombies are created by a disease or something. So that was the first movie to do that, right? It was like it was like a disease, and then the people turned into zombies. Now every zombie movie ever that's the situation, right?
Yeah.
So that's fair to say that's a disaster movie because it's like
it's a disease that makes people fucked up, right? That
changes the world and causes it to collapse.
Yeah.
Whereas like the old zombie movies are just like The Walking Dead.
Yeah, the George A. Romero ones.
Yeah, and they don't turn you into.
They're undead. They're risen from the ground.
Yeah,
right?
like the really old ones.
Yeah.
So
they're walking corpses.
So it's not something you can catch, whereas like in the new ones, you catch zombieism or whatever.
Yeah, zombie flu
when they bite you or whatever.
or whatever the hell.
Which I was always like. This is why I'm not the biggest zombie fan. I mean, there's a lot of zombie stuff I really loved because it's cool, but when everyone asks like, what would you do during a zombie apocalypse? I'm like, never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Here's my one thing. It's like, okay, there's somebody turns into a zombie. How the fuck does that zombie stay alive? Like
by eating brains.
Eating other zombies. Like
in 28 Days Later. What happens is they realize, like, when they go to the house and all those British army guys are there, they realize that if they're like people, that if they don't eat for like 30 days, they're just going to fucking die.
Okay.
Right? So that makes sense. Question, but that doesn't make sense in shows like The Walking Dead where these zombies have been walking around. Like your body, like it's not possible.
Yeah. And
I get it's like, fiction, but.
Yeah, their guts are hanging out. Like how is an organism stay alive that way?
It doesn't work. It defies the laws of science.
That always like, and then. The other thing is, too, is like, you have a car, yes, drive north, okay, you live. There's nobody up there.
Yeah.
Whatever, fucking learn to hunt. Not even, like, go to some fucking store way the fuck up there, get all the food there, and, I don't know.
Yeah, steal all that toilet paper.
Yeah, my point is you'll be fine. Also, like, you versus zombie, you're probably gonna win. I mean, it's a fucking...
Unless there's those motherfuckers from that other joke. What was it, the remake? Was it not Night of the Living Dead? What's the when they remade it? Whether Dawn of the Dead?
Dawn of the Dead,
yeah. That's the one where they're in the
mall.
The mall, yeah. With Vig Rhames. He's the cop. He's so badass.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, what else was Vig Rhames in?
I like that one.
That one's good.
Yeah.
Then they had the second one with, it's like Land of the Dead or something.
I'm not sure the second one. Day of the Dead? Or is that before? I think that's before.
Yeah, I think so, maybe.
That one is like the sequel to the original Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Day of the Dead.
Yeah,
I think.
And then there's one where the whole city's shut down. And then it's after Dawn of the Dead, and there's still people. I can't remember.
But so yeah, like here's the other thing. If the zombies are taking over and killing everybody, the military, just shoots a bunch of them. Zombies don't repopulate. So my point is there's going to be more us than there is them. You wipe all the zombies out, you're fine. There's no way zombies are going to fucking take over.
I don't know.
No. They're just not. They're just not. Like they're lumbering fools. They don't have guns. The military does.
There's people that believe that this can actually happen. I remember I've talked to a few people that are like, what would you do in a zombie apocalypse? I'm like, and I share the same thing that, like, your same point of view, sorry. I'm like, well, it's never really going to happen. I was like, if anything, like, a disease will wipe people out before, like, it's not believable. But there are people that believe that, like,
yeah,
it could happen, right?
Yeah, like the rabies thing.
Whatever. But no, I'm in your camp on that one where I'm like, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's a ridiculous question. But yeah, I guess it is falling under the like a horror disaster genre, I guess.
Yeah, it's a loophole. It gets there in like a loophole.
Yeah, it's like horror survival disaster kind of. I guess that's just a Resident Evil movie at that point, really.
Yeah, but when I say disaster movie, I think of 90s, blockbusters that were disaster movies.
Yeah, Dante's Peak, Deep Impact, Armageddon,
Twister. Yeah,
I forgot about Twister too. Twister's
a good one. Yeah, that was right in the height of it too. There was also another tornado one, and I think it was maybe called
Cyclone.
Maybe.
I just made that up.
Maybe I think it might be called Tornado. But there is another, just like Dante's Peak and Volcano, there is another Twister one that happened at the same time.
But you gotta have those competing movies,
I guess you do, yeah.
I always liked that when that happened, because I was like, that the big execs are sitting there, like, whoever puts them out over at, like, let's say, like, Fox or, like, Universal, and they're sitting there, they're like, oh, yeah? They're gonna put out a fucking movie about volcanoes? Yeah, well, fucking watch this. Exactly. We're gonna do it, too.
It's true. Apparently, what they say, it's always a coincidence.
Oh, no, they know what's going on.
Yeah. But why would you make the same movie that someone else is? Like, just why?
Well, you can argue that they're different, which they are, right? Like, they're like, no, our movie's different, but, like, at the end of the day...
Yeah, but why do you want to make it if someone else is making it?
Well, if the first one is, like, if you're making one and they drop around the same time, like... I don't remember the order of which they came out, but, like, let's say, like, Armageddon comes up before Deep Impact, and I know Armageddon did very well at the box office. Don't you imagine that the secondary movie would be...
But they have to be in development at the same time to come out at the same time. So what I think happens is, like, it's in the zeitgeist. Like, producers are talking and being like, this is a perfect time for a volcano movie. And then someone else hears that. It's like, yeah, okay, let's do a volcano movie. Who can we have to write it? You, write a movie called Volcano. And then another producer's like, oh, there's no volcano movie out, and everyone wants that now. You write a movie called Dante's Peak, and they happen like simultaneously.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
I see that because that still happens. Right? That still happens now. There's still movies that come out.
Well, like Olympus Has Fallen, not
White House
Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down.
Yeah, those movies are scary similar. Like,
yeah, so that has to be a coincidence. Right? Do you see someone making a movie about the White House being taken over and just be like, now that's a brilliant idea. I need to do that too.
A lot of people went to see those fucking movies, so maybe.
I guess they're
not very good, but people went to go see them. So yeah. I could see maybe like the studio sitting there and they're like, fuck it. They're putting together a movie with Morgan Freeman and Gerard Butler. They're like, let's get Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum. That's another, like, that's literally like, the cast was the same. Like, I understand it was at the point when Obama was president. I understand what you're doing here. Like, they made it into, like, buddy cop movies. Like, White House Down, especially, was a buddy cop. It's like fucking New Age Lethal Weapon.
I haven't seen that. Oh, I got one for you.
It's not great.
Is Tremors a disaster movie?
Oh, God. I mean, Tremors 3, 4, and 5 are just disasters in their own. But Tremors 1 and 2.
1 and 2 is good too.
2 is good. I like 2.
But so,
do you know they're still fucking making those?
Are they?
Oh yeah, I saw they're making one with.
They go straight to like
I think
DVD though.
Oh yeah, direct to DVD or direct to Netflix, I guess you call it now, or direct to stream.
If they...
It's got Jamie Kennedy and I think Doc Brown.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd.
Right, that doesn't sound good.
No, it's probably not.
But yeah, so the similarity here. So obviously, we're saying monster movies don't really count, but
I think Tremors would fall under a disaster movie.
But Tremors is something I was talking about before, which is like it has the scientists and they feel the tremors in the ground, which is why it's called Tremors. Mm-hmm. And they're like, something's going on here. There's going to be an earthquake or some shit, and they're trying.
Spoiler alert: there's giant fucking worms on
here. Yeah. But so that's why it's kind of a disaster movie, because it follows that formula of like Dante's Peak or whatever.
I see it more as like a monster movie. Like,
yeah, it is.
It's more people getting hunted. It's not like something naturally happening kind of thing. Like,
no.
But then you could kind of make that argument with a couple other things, right?
Yeah, that's true. At the end of the day, what's a disaster movie? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody really cares. Like, it's such a genre that nobody has kind of ever cared about. Like, maybe in the 90s, like we were talking about, those blockbusters, they made money. But I think even then, people were like, they didn't find them, like, amazing movies. Like
Yeah.
I did when I was
like they're cool, but there's such like there's those niche categories like you don't really see people like sick like new disaster like they're like I thought of another one that I remember I saw this in theaters and like I'm still kicking myself for having paid money to go see this. That 2012 movie. That if you want to talk cashing in
Isn't that about the fucking like
the Mayan
Mayans?
thing, yeah. But remember when that date was approaching, they were like, everyone was like, it's gonna be the end of the world. It's the end of the world. And I remember like I saw that they were making that movie was in production, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, okay, well Hollywood's gonna try and cash in on this thing, right? Oh man, was that movie fucking bad.
Yeah, it looked bad, yeah.
Oh, it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
See, that's what I mean, though, about 2012 was an event that, like, a lot of people thought was going to happen, so they made a movie about it. That's what I mean, like, disaster movies are now. Like, San Andreas, like, they're always saying there could be a huge earthquake there. They're always saying they're ready for one because it's right on the fault line, so they make a movie about it.
What was that volcano thing? What was the plot of Volcano? Volcano comes up in the middle of Los Angeles. They did not see that coming.
Is that what happened?
Yeah!
Because, I remember it's LA now.
It's LA, and it comes up in the
Peak
middle.
is at least, like...
And it's like an actual volcano.
Yeah.
And it's been dormant for, like, 100 years or something like that. Right? And Volcano, I think, is just, it pops out of the middle of Los Angeles. And
it's gotta be the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's spewing
They're
magma.
not that tall. I've been at the top of those fucking things. It only took me like an hour.
Oh, man. But yeah, and it's just they're spewing fucking shit all over the place, and Tommy Lee Jones is like, get a copter in here, and get some fire trucks, and he's just directing
Isn't he like a fireman in that movie?
I think he's like one of those guys who just directs like all the special fire, like he's like a...
Yeah, emergency response.
Yeah, he's the guy with the vest and the hard hat and the walkie, right?
Yeah, and
like
he has a rough relationship with his daughter.
Oh, and
that's all I remember.
Yeah, and then she comes to town to visit him, obviously.
Is that the one with... Who's the guy from Sideways?
Paul Giamatti?
Yeah, is that the one with Paul Giamatti?
No,
or is
that's Dante's Peak. Paul Giamatti works for the camera crew. Or the seismic. Yeah, and that's right. And the guy dies on the bridge when the water comes through, and they're just like, oh shit. Like we lost Paul. Well, I mean, like, in conclusion to Greenland, I'd say, is it the best disaster movie of all time? No. Is it watchable? Yes. Should you watch it? I don't know. It depends. Do you?
I mean, it's 2 hours.
It's
1 hour and 55 minutes.
That's still for me, and I'm a stickler for the fucking runtime. You could have done that.
Yeah,
you could have done it a bit shorter. I actually found myself while watching it being like, when are they gonna wrap this shit up? Also, did you notice that one scene where like, you know how Gerard Butler kills that guy with the hammer? Sorry, spoilers.
Yeah, which is like annoying as hell too, because a hammer's never gonna get stuck in somebody's head. I mean, their head's not that soft.
Yeah. but down the road, like everyone's like, when the meteors are hitting and everything, and he goes and he breaks that glass and he saves that guy.
Yes.
So it's like his redemption, and it's like
sort of.
Yeah, it's like I killed the guy, but I saved a life. That guy he saved is probably fucking dead.
Is that how you saw that?
That's what they were trying to set up. Why would he?
Oh my god!
Because that scene was in there for no reason.
Yeah, I thought it was just to show that he's a good guy, sort of.
I think it was his redemption.
I see what you're saying.
Because remember
he's upset about killing a guy, but like the guy was gonna kill him. I didn't really see that to be something to dwell on for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't have cared. Who gives a fuck? That guy's probably gonna like.
He's
trying to. It's gonna blow up in 2 days anyway. Like he's sitting there feeling bad. He's like, I killed this guy.
I thought it was just to show that he's a good guy. Like while the world's in crisis, he's gonna help.
I thought it was like a sort of redemption.
But it's like, meanwhile, it's the only person he chooses to help, where there's like a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah,
during the movie that.
Yeah. Why isn't he running around?
He just goes for the one guy.
Yeah.
So he does this one redemption. He's like, well, I'm clean now.
Well, my good deed for the day is done. And then they get into the thing. So karma? I don't know.
Also, that pissed me off, actually, when he goes and saves the guy. Because it happens when all the rocks are falling. They're like, get under the bridge. So they get to the bridge. And then he stays out and goes and saves the guy, pulls him out of the car. And they don't go under the bridge. He's like, being there next to him, being like, are you okay, man? Are you okay?
I would drag him the fuck under there.
Drag him to the... It makes no sense. They did so much work to get to that bridge.
Those CG rocks are going to crush him.
And that was the thing I was going to say. The worst about the visual effects is when his like arms on fire and it's just
man.
He's like...
I've seen better fucking
Those are
special effects on
terrible.
television shows.
Yeah.
Like, that was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're spending all this money. I did like the practicalness of it. There was like a lot of cars and stuff. It wasn't like as like CG as it could have been, but the CG was not great. And for the what little amount of CG there was, like, you could have, just spend a little more money. Get someone in there a bit better.
Yeah.
Like, don't be content with like having like crappiness. Like, bad CG always turns me off. That's why, like, when we hit that point, like in the early to mid 2000s, where like CG was becoming more prominent, but it wasn't where it is now.
Yeah.
And you'd see it a lot in movies unnecessarily, like in or like late 90s ish kind of like in Alien 3 when they started adding CG into that. Like I was like no. I was like, just keep using practical, But
it's true.
But CG's at a point now where you can, like, as you've obviously seen,
do
like,
anything.
You can do anything you want with it.
I mean, it's difficult in the movies that do have 200 people working on the CG or whatever. So a movie like this, I don't think, they could.
You're probably not budgeted.
Afford that.
But there's so little scenes of it.
Yeah, exactly. They only had to do
like maybe 20 minutes total.
Yeah.
Not even. That's being generous.
Yeah.
10. And it's a total of the movie time with maybe like
a couple of things
to that.
crashing. But yeah, that does take a long time, obviously, to do those scenes. Yeah. I mean, I always think about the guy that, have you seen the movie Monsters? Like,
yeah.
So the guy fucking wrote and directed and did his own special effects for that movie, and it's got like the monster in it and a couple other CG things, and it's like amazing.
But he was a special effects guy.
Yeah, but he was just one guy. Like
that's one fucking guy.
Yeah.
So what are you telling me
this
that
movie
like
probably had 50 people doing CG,
probably,
maybe more.
Maybe.
It's them wanting to push the movie out. Really,
yeah.
It's like we have 6 months. We want to do this thing. It's like. No, but if you do the CG, it's going to take a year. They're like, no, we have 6 months. They're like, all right.
Yeah.
Do it quick.
They don't give a fuck. They're like, we need to roll this thing out. Also, why are you rushing things right now? Who cares? Everything's getting pushed back now anyway. So why put out I think it's because also now too it's like I've noticed that we haven't been getting a lot of good stuff coming out really.
Maybe that more people watch this because it's the only thing out.
I'm also
we watched it.
I mean we did it.
We watched it because there was kind of nothing else.
Yeah, we picked it because it was one of the more recent ones. We've seen this or Mortal Kombat. And I've watched Mortal Kombat, and trust me, Mortal Kombat is much better.
Is it? Yeah.
I was expecting something really shit, and it ended up being fucking mediocre to pretty good.
I probably should watch it. I wanted to talk about Titanic during this a bit, but it is going on pretty long.
I mean, what were you going to bring up about Titanic?
I was just going to say Titanic's an interesting one, because it's like half the movie's not a disaster, and the other half is.
The love story is a real disaster.
Yeah, the acting is a real disaster. What's his name? I can't think of names today. Leonardo DiCaprio's acting is the real disaster.
Oh man, that's not his best. Not his best. But that's the thing. You can argue that he doesn't do the best job in that.
James Cameron's fault, 100%, because he's making a melodrama.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be cheesy and over the top.
But even though because I don't want to say that Leo wasn't the best in Titanic. I'm like, I don't care. That movie still won a bunch of Oscars, and it still was it's still a good movie.
It was the highest selling movie of all time.
And that stayed that way for a long time. I think till Avatar fucking beat.
Yeah, till Avatar.
So yeah, Leo doesn't make bad movies. I challenge anyone to tell me one bad movie he's made.
I'm sure they're out there, man. I don't know. The Beach.
The Beach isn't that bad. The Beach is arguably maybe the worst one.
I can't really think of what else. I'm sure there's one out there.
Oh man, they're all good. That's why for so long I was getting so pissed. I was like, just give this man some fucking hardware. Yeah.
Well, let's wrap this up. Greenland. Does this movie make you want to go to Greenland?
No, not really. Kind of made me want to go to Tennessee because they go there and it looks nice.
They go to Tennessee?
Yeah, that's what the dad is. They're like,
is he?
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
They keep mentioning it. They're like, we need to get to Lexington.
Yeah, I didn't know where that was.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And they keep going on about it. I'm like, fuck. I just thought it was funny that it hit Florida first. And I was like, if anything needed to go first, it was probably there. If any place, the writers were probably like, where are we going to knock off first?
They have all that footage of warning. This is graphic stuff, and it like shows the perfect shot of everything. It's like, wow.
Yeah, right. Oh, the news. Oh, yeah, that's something we didn't really touch on as much too. But the fucking news reporters were like, "It is chaos out there." It sounded like the fucking like it sounded like one of those blooper reels, like
yeah, it was pretty.
Oh man, all the humanity, the images you are about to see are disturbing to some, and you're just like, wait, what? Like, why would you be talking like that? You could picture the reporter just being like, "What the fuck? Holy shit! There's fucking, it's fucking fuego here. It's fuego because it's fuego because it's Miami.
For all we know, the Lakers could.
Oh, we know the Heat just won. Oh yeah, what was that? Yeah, fucking. We didn't talk about This Is the End as disaster movies too.
That's true. Yeah,
I would actually rank that one up.
Movie.
That is
I mean, it's like divine intervention or whatever. It's like
it's the rapture.
Revelations. Yeah, the rapture. Yeah.
People who've been good get taken, and the people who get bad. I'll take my chances down here. That's all right. But yeah, I can't believe we didn't get into This Is the End. But either way, good flick.
Yeah, This Is the End is probably a better disaster than Greenland.
Yeah.
So.
And with that being said, this is the end of this episode. So take me out, boys.
Peace out.